Catherine. Catherine is modeling her recreation of an 1880 Victorian gown from a fashion play in Revue de la Mode, a French fashion magazine. Her gown is made of burgundy taffeta. It consists of a fitted bodice with a rounded neck, a front drape, has a bustle train, and a scalloped hemline on both the skirt and the train. The bodice is adorned with taffeta roses, and her accessories consist of black gloves and a black fan. This gown makes Catherine feel like quite the elegant lady from the past. Catherine is an award-winning costumer, but this is her first time foraying into the Victorian era. Thank you, Catherine.
I don't even remember what he said.
In 1883, restaurateur Fred Harvey began to open the first cross-country food service along the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad line. The young women he hired to work at his restaurants and lunch counters were known as the Harvey Girls. The Harvey restaurants were famous for their cleanliness, efficiency, and the high quality of food they served. The Harvey Girls wore a distinctive uniform designed to be both modest and functional. The uniforms were laundered by the Harvey Company, and if a Harvey girl spilled something on her apron or dress, she was required to change immediately into a clean garment. Jody Reagan is modeling the uniform of a Harvey House head waitress, which consists of a plain black skirt, white blouse, and black bow tie. While at work, she would wear a white apron. However, for her outing here with us today, she has donned a straw hat and left her apron at the restaurant. The Harvey girls lived in special quarters, usually attached to the restaurant. They had strict curfews and were required to sign a 6-month contract to work for Fred Harvey, during which time they agreed not to marry. However, of the approximate 100,000 Harvey girls that worked along the Santa Fe rail line over a period of 7 decades, 20,000 of them married their customers. It is fair to say that the Harvey girls played a significant role in settling the American West. Inspired by an illustration from Harper's Bazaar from 1886, this two-piece dress is made of jade green linen with black lace accents. The underskirt is worn over a steel cage bustle, petticoat. The asymmetric overskirt is trimmed with elaborate black scrolled soutache braid, and the bustle folds are formed by attaching ribbons sewn to the underside. The fitted vast bodice has a yoke and cuffs trimmed with matching black lace and is closed with velvet buttons. Accessories include black knit mitts, vintage damask shoes, a brocade reticule, and a lavishly trimmed hat. Nancy started her love affair with period costuming in 1976 when she was asked to dress her entire family in 18th century attire for the town's bicentennial celebration. She started doing Victorian attire in 1992 when she dressed hundreds of velour bunnies in high 19th century fashion for the business she was running. She has been dressing herself, her husband, and a few friends for the Riverside Dickens Festival for 3 years and is currently the chairperson for the festival's fashion show. She sews exclusively from truly Victorian patterns as she finds the fit and the period authentic to be without compare. She's passionate about getting every detail just so and spends hours doing research and shopping before ever hitting the sewing room. And you've all met her very handsome husband over here. Christina is wearing a 1901 summer day outfit. After the severely tailored look of the 1890s, women became ultra-feminine again at the turn of the century. A new style of corset also gave a new look to the modern woman, thrusting her chest forward and throwing her hips back. A large shelf-like bosom was favored, and the curvy hourglass figure was considered an important asset. The skirts from the early 20th century were slim to the hips, but with the help of gores, flowed with fullness at the hem. Light gathering or pleating accented the derriere, as did trains in various lengths. For day, skirts were usually very simple, but even walking skirts had small trains. Wide waistbands grew increasingly popular. Skirts made with a narrow waistband were usually worn with wide-shaped girdles or belts. Christina's gown is made of dotted Swiss with a lavender belt. She carries her summer parasol and is wearing a matching white hat with lavender accents. There is a lace inset on the yoke of the bodice and a sheer dotted wrap around her shoulders. Thank you, Christina. Although bicycles were conceptualized as early as 1490 by Leonardo da Vinci and were made of wood with no steering as early as 1790 and no pedals in 1818, the bicycle as we know it with pedals and cranks was first invented by carriage makers in 1861. It was first called a bicycle in 1869, and before that they were called, oh dear, velocipedes. It developed into the high-wheeled penny farthing in 1871, which you may recall had a very large front wheel and a very small back wheel. They were used by the most adventurous young men and not very practical. In 1885, John Kent Starley developed the rover for people to rove around on. It was also called a safety bicycle. The wheels were pneumatic of equal size and it had a chain drive. It was also known for its safety and speed. Now even elderly gentlemen and ladies could participate in the enjoyment of riding a bicycle. Susan B. Anthony called it the Freedom Machine. By the 1890s, it had become very popular among the elites and middle class. Historians called this the Golden Age, or bicycle craze, and by the 20th century, it had become an important means of transportation. With the popularity came a demand for clothing that was less constrictive and didn't have skirts to catch in the spokes and cranks. The call was answered by the knickerbockers and the split skirts. Streets were dirty, and it was still somewhat dangerous, so the clothing was usually of colors and fabrics that would not show being soiled. Protective leg coverings were needed, so they incorporated gaiters such as the military men and explorers would have used. Hats were still required for a proper fashionable look, but they were smaller and held tighter to the head so as not to blow off in the wind. This is a bicycle suit from the Harper's Bazaar magazine in 1896. The original garment was of brown velvet. Such fashion plates were used as a basis for the home sewer and usually modified according to the creator's own imaginings. Gina's bicycle suit is of tan wool suiting trimmed in black lace and is fully lined. The 1830 Slytherin dress. In September 2008, the Greater Bay Area Costumers Guild held a lovely Wives and Daughters picnic in Berkeley. As the Bay Area Guild produces some fantastic costume events, Jennifer decided to carpool up with a friend, and quarter petticoats and all. Jennifer recently discovered a textile shop in New York and had a wonderful line of silks, and she had to make a taffeta gown. Apparently she was on a green kick that year and chose this extraordinary color, a moss green shot with gold. It's really a Harry Potter dark mark green color. But Jennifer calls it her Slytherin dress, as it would be perfect for a Hogwarts reunion party, 19th century style. Jennifer's original inspiration was from plate number 10. From French Fashions of the Romantic Era by Dover Publications. This book is chock full of ideas for creating dresses of that period. She'd have one of each if she could. She started with the Romantic Era dress pattern by Victorian and altered the bodice to match the design. The front bodice pleating was merely draped to the dress, while on her dress form and then hand tacked down. Each seam is piped with tiny 1/16 cotton cord silk piping with double piping at the center front seam and the neckline, which Jennifer loves and is very proud of the finished look. The lower sleeve started with a basic fitted sleeve, while the top puff began with a huge beret sleeve. Drafting by trial and error, Jennifer made up the bands and the smaller elbow puff. The puffs are underlined with a stiff cotton organdy. The skirt was created from basic straight panels, which were knife pleated to the waistband. Cartridge pleats were sewn into the center back of the skirt to fit the rest of the waistband. The belt and silver bracelet cuffs complete the dress, matching the fashion plate. The dag-edge skirt trim was created with lots of math calculations of how many points are seen in the fashion plate versus how wide the skirt was, along with good old guesses. Jennifer hand-sketched the design on pattern paper, then cut out the ruffle and each point with regular pinking shears. Jennifer is a great admirer of this time period, right before Victoria took the throne. She admits it's her sloping shoulders that complete the look. This dress is extremely fun to wear and bounce around in. The Romantic era, years 1820 to 1840, is hard to pull off correctly, and Jennifer loves the challenges this presents. Thank you, Jennifer. Yes. We have Valerie. Valerie is wearing an 1885 bustle gown in blue and white floral cotton over a solid blue skirt. She saved this painting, Cutting Roses, by Robert James Gordon about 6 years ago, and waited until she could find a blue floral fabric to make a similar gown. She used the French vest and autumn overskirt patterns from truly Victorian. With a solid blue for the vest inserted to match her skirt, the bodice appears to look like two separate pieces of clothing. The entire bodice and sleeves have a black braided trim sewn to it. It has a pleated peplum in the back, which shows it is meant to be worn over a bustle. The solid blue skirt is straight in the front and gathered in the back to go over a bustle. The overskirt is draped and bustled in the back and is supported by a small caged bustle under it. Her straw hat is topped with silk flowers and is lined in blue to bring color to her face. The gown and hat were both made by Valerie. Thank you, Valerie.
I want to wish all you mothers happy Mother's Day, especially to my mother. Enjoy your ice cream. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you. Make the show today. So lovely Christina helped me out today. Thank you, Christina. Take your picture.